And we'll begin with you, Anton, if that's okay.
Hi, good to see you.
Look, first off, how great is it to have Millie Bright back in the squad and potentially be able to pick her and Leah Williamson for the first time together in what seems like a long time?
Yeah, absolutely seems like a long time. I'm very happy. She's very happy. Started playing again after a long period of injury and rehab. So it's really good. Well, she has 2 more games, so that's good to see too. But then she'll come into camp, and I'm very happy. Yeah. And so is she, and it's very good for the team.
I was going to say, she's talked about quite openly about how she's kind of struggled by the fact she's had a lot of injuries over the last 2 years.
Yeah.
So how much of a boost is it for her personally to be back in the squad and be back playing again?
Yeah, it's a great boost. This is what she has been working for all the time, of course, to compete with Chelsea. And then coming back into camp. And of course, we all hoped she would have been back earlier, but she needed some more time. So I'm just really happy now. This is the moment that she can come in.
Talk about players needing more time. How frustrating is it? You had to pick a squad that's going to play for the next 2 months after the end of the season.
Yeah, well, it's hard. We knew this. We've known this calendar for a while now, and we know that it's very challenging. Now everything comes closer, and things are new. So. We haven't had this period where we don't have a tournament, but we do have a window in July after the June window, or May-June window. But the May-June window is shortly after the league finishes. So it's different. We find a way, and this is how we approach it. But it's hard because there's no competition except for the players from Barcelona.
Is that why you've gone with those 2 training camps at St George's Park and then going to the Netherlands as well? And has there been any difficult discussions with the clubs about potentially the players being away for so long?
Yeah, it was challenging, just like last year, of course. So what I said before, that we had many conversations with clubs, good conversations with clubs, and it's challenging. And we all know that players need some rest, but we also need to train to compete in July. So with all the clubs we had conversation, we come to this plan, and players who have some programs with clubs, some still playing, like Barcelona, and players will come in stages in our training camps.
This is obviously the first squad since Rachel Daly's retirement. How did that come about? And are you disappointed, obviously, that she isn't going to be playing for England anymore?
Yeah, well, Rachel and I had many conversations before she made this decision. I already miss her, to be honest. She's a nice person. She's a great personality. It's so much fun to work with her. But it's a reality now. And we have to move on too. It was very strange not having her in the squad because all the time since I came in, she was with us. I think it's powerful also that she said, okay, this is where it finishes for me now. Just move on with club football.
And finally, football moves on. You've already kind of selected her replacement in Aggie Beever-Jones, her first call-up from the start of the squad.
Yeah.
What do you hope she's going to bring?
Yeah, I think Aggie has had a very great improvement. Well, she developed so well. So last year she was Everton, alone at Everton. So she came in the Chelsea squad, and she's just doing really well. She's a open person. She really wants to develop every single day on the pitch. And she, like when we had our February camp, she was already, she came into a training session with some other under 23 players, and she did well there too. So yeah, I'm just hoping she comes in and just goes out on the pitch and play. She can play on the side, she can play in the center. I'm looking forward to it.
Thanks, Anton.
Hello.
Hi.
Obviously, Leah captained England at the Euros. Millie Bright captained England at the World Cup. I appreciate a lot will come down to team selection on the day, but could you confirm that if they're both available, will Leah resume the captaincy and Millie will be vice-captain, or what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I have to discuss things with the players first. As I said, we were swapping around the band a bit. Also, Leah started the second game last camp. Not the first. She's our captain, and we probably keep doing that. We have many leaders in the team. Let's first see how everyone comes in, and then I have the conversation with the players first.
I sometimes think as the press we talk about the captaincy a lot. Does it surprise you that we make such a big deal about it?
Yes, absolutely. It's such a big thing here. You always talk about captaincy, and the players are like, okay, well, they're proud to be captain, but we have so many leaders in the team, and everyone has responsibilities, not just when you wear the armband, that you all of a sudden have huge more responsibilities. We all have to do the things we need to do for the team.
After the May-June fixtures, there's a couple of week period that you call rest and recuperation before you head in St George's Park. Are the players allowed to go on holiday at that point, or do you need to keep them ticking over and preferably stay in this country for those 2 weeks?
No. As you know, I never tell. Well, of course, they're professional players. They know what's right for them. I think it's very good to have a proper rest. We can't give any longer because we have to compete in July. And so, yes, they can go away. My preference would be to stay in Europe and not go to the other side of the world, because that has impact also. But these days, the world seems to be so small. Everyone's going everywhere. I want them to come in fit and fresh and be ready to start training and be ready to compete. And I just think they'll make the right decisions.
I'm not sure if you've seen it, but Lucy Bronze released a video this morning with FIFA Pro talking about tiredness and calendar fixtures. Is it something that the players, Lucy, or perhaps others, have spoken to you directly about, that they physically, at this point in the season, with a week or two to go, whether domestically or with the Champions League final, that they're tired at this point?
Yeah. Well, yes, this has been a talking point all the time, of course. That's why we have conversation. I always say we have to keep talking to each other, and we have to listen to players first. And of course, we're in a professional environment, so it's all about competing, but also then get a balance between competing, delivering, and having some time off to rest, to go again. And yes, in this period of the season, of course, prizes are being won or just not. And so it's very, very intense. And I can imagine just that she talks about it. I think many players talks about it, but she's very outspoken. And it's absolutely a point of attention for us, for all of us, to take... to listen and make decisions that help the players.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. Take questions from the floor. Yes, we'll go to Paul.
Thanks. Hi, Sarina.
Hi.
Obviously, you've got this double header coming up now against France. How do you think France have been recently? Because it seems since Hervé Renard came in, France they've looked more like the France that maybe a few years ago everyone was expecting them to win big tournaments and weren't. Now they seem to be, in the last year, really playing maybe better than they have done in many years. Is that how you see them? And how big a test is it to have to play them twice with qualifying on the line?
Yeah, I think it's a huge test. I think France has always been really well. And I think they're in a good place now too. So, of course, they're the number 3 in the FIFA ranking. So it's a very physical team, but also lots of qualities, lots of options to play too. We haven't played them since I came in, so I'm excited to play them because it's a different opponent. But it's going to be two very, very tough games.
How are you enjoying this new qualifying format? Because in the past, I'm not saying it was a formality before, but obviously it was more comfortable for a team like England with lots of games you won by lot. Now you've got a double header against France, and one of you probably won't get maybe an automatic place. How are you enjoying the challenges of this, but also the fact that every game now is, well, tough?
Yeah. I mean, that's what we wanted. We're in a very hard group. Our group is very high level. But that's what we wanted to. We want challenging games. We want games that beforehand you don't know what the result is going to be. And yes, earlier, some games we knew ahead that we were going to win the game. We just didn't know how much. What the score line would be. So yes, I think it's good. It's very challenging. And yes, we don't know what it's going to look like on the 16th of July. And that's exciting for everyone, I think. We just have to deliver.
And when the France game comes up, do I give you something extra to watch for in the Champions League final? Could have a couple of your players going up against quite a few of the France players.
Yeah, that's nice too. And in France, of course, there's a lot of players who play for Olympique Lyon and Paris Saint-Germain. They play each other Friday again, and they also play them in the semi-finals. Yeah, many good players. So that says enough about the squad of France.
Thank you. Thanks, Paul. We'll go to the front row. Thank you.
Hi, Sarina. I know you go to loads and loads of WSL games, like you're just constantly there. And I wondered if you had a chance to see Crystal Palace play and considered any of their players for the squad. I was thinking particularly the one that impressed me was Annabelle Blanchard. I know she's played for the younger bits of England, but I wondered if you thought of her even in the reserves thing of the squad, but she's quite adaptable, sort of as an attacking midfielder or a number 10, etc.
Yeah, no, I didn't consider that. I think we are very close connected with the under 23s, and of course the pathway is underneath that. But I think you have to play in the Women's Super League to be able to step up for an international level. And there's so many talented players also in the championship. But I think that step is huge. So yes, we keep an eye on those players. With some players who play there that we think are very talented, but that needs a little more time to step up to the next level in competition, then step up to international senior football.
I guess when Palace now start in the WSL next season, maybe.
Yeah, of course, we'll keep watching. We'll absolutely watch it.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll go across the kit. Thank you.
Hi, Sarina. Nice to see you. Besides Rachel Daly, I think every player that was selected for the previous squad in April is also in this squad. What's the kind of value for you in selecting such a similar group compared to the games in April?
Well, we're just watching. We think that at this moment, those are the best players in England. Some we have seen in our environment, and they've done really well. Also, what you see in the group of 28, that we brought some players in from the under 23s. We want to see. This is an opportunity also to see them in our environment, to if they can step up, because they're talented players, and hopefully in the future they will, compete with other players and make the squad. So just finding that balance. Of course, it's all about performing at the highest level, but also take that opportunity.
And can I just go back to France, because you've got them twice in 5 or 6 days, which feels quite unique. Does that impact how you'll prepare for those games at all, that it's the same opponent twice, whereas, say, the last camp where you had 2 completely different opponents?
Yeah, we had that in the last Nations League campaign too. You just have one less meeting, the preparation of the next opponent, because that's the same. So the review is also preparing for the second game. Yeah, you can talk about advantages and disadvantages. What we just really want to do is get ready for Friday, and then after that, get ready for Tuesday.
Thanks.
Thanks, Kit. We'll go to Emma.
Hi, Sarina.
Hi.
You mentioned before about that pathway from the under-23s, and you've named, obviously, the standby list. Just wondered if you could talk a little bit more about Jess Nass, Missy Bow-Kearns and Kayla Rendell in particular, because obviously we know maybe a little bit more about Maya, but what have you seen in those players?
But they do well in the under-23s. Of course, they play at club too, and we also look at what positions do we need players. If something happens too in the team, in the squad, then of course you want to get a player ready to move up. I'm not going into detail what we literally see, but they're talented players in the under-23s. I think there's more. With Jess Nass, also she stepped up at Tottenham. She has a lot of speed, and we just want to see how that relates into our environment.
Yeah, you were obviously at the FA Cup final on Sunday as well. Did that play a part in your decisions around any of this squad?
Well, we don't take decisions overnight. We follow players throughout the whole year, with their teams, with their club teams, also with the national teams, and then you make the final decisions.
Yeah, just finally on that standby list, is there a chance that, let's say these players impress in the first training week this month, that you might actually bring them into the actual playing 24-player squad for the next games against Sweden and the Republic of Ireland?
Yeah, well, first of all, there is a period of time in between the first window and the second window, so you don't really. There's no football. We play France twice, then we come out as a team. We see how players come out of that. Then there's 2 weeks of rest, and players start training again. And of course, everyone has to be at the top level then, and show show your form. And if things change in that, or someone is injured, or someone totally lost form for whatever reason, of course, then we can always make other decisions. But I don't want to. Yeah, we'll see that in the moment.
Thank you.
Go to Catherine.
Hi, Sarina. When Maya Letizia missed out on the last squad, I know you said there's a lot of competition in the defensive areas. Obviously, Millie coming back means there's even more competition.
Yeah.
I know you've mentioned before you might see Maya as a right back rather than centre back, and she's playing centre back at club. Is that sort of still the issue that you think is partly stopping her from getting in the squad as well as the competition?
Yeah, I think absolutely. The competition in the back is high. And Maya, for us, she plays mostly on the right fullback position if she comes in. That we saw that in February too. In the centre-back position, I'll choose other players who I think are ahead of her. That's the conversations I have with her all the time.
Any final questions? If not, we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Thanks for your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you. See you soon.